What's up guys, Irvine Garage here, welcome back to the channel. And I just want to make a quick video today. I just got the Porsche and actual official inspection date, and let me see if I can clear this lens off a little bit. I just got this thing, actual inspection date from the DMV, and I want to go over a little bit of the process for some people that aren't aware. And it wasn't that difficult, but we definitely had to go back there several times. I think we ended up going there 3 times, them telling us, you know, get this, and then come back, and then everything should be good. So just want to go over some of that stuff today, and we'll talk about exactly what you need to actually get one of these cars from salvage to actually clean title or a rebuilt title. Alright, so for those of you that don't know, this is my salvage 911. I took it on as a rebuild project a little over a year ago. It actually took me a year and 6 months in and out of body shops, working with different people, trying to get this car actually solved, and now it is 100% complete. I'll put the link for that video right here, kind of shows you the background of, you know, if you're jumping into this without knowing what you're doing, that like what I did, and it kind of shows you exactly what happened to me. But moving on to the actual rebuild portion of this, I'm doing it in the state of Florida, so it may vary state by state. Some states have rebuild licenses that you have to get, like licensure that you have to get for being eligible to rebuild cars, because if you're dealing with airbags and catalytic converters and stuff like that, that's actually one of the biggest pieces of the paperwork. We'll get into that in a second. But it varies state by state. You may have to get certain licensure for actually rebuilding the cars. I'm doing it in the state of Florida, so I'm just going to show you my exact process and the examples that I have had to go through and what I've had to do. So I'm going to break it down into 3 steps for Florida. While it's not this simple exactly, it does kind of go back to 3 major components. So that would be, you need to have your before and after pictures. For us, I only had to give them the before pictures, what I thought was kind of weird, because most actually require you to have, you know, the before and after, so they can see how it was fixed and what it looks like, you know, actually fixed and rebuilt, and what the damage was wrecked. But I guess they focus more on, obviously they want to see what the damage was that caused it to have a salvage title. So that's the first part. You need to have your receipts for every single thing on the car. Now, I say every single thing, but that's not exactly true. It's major components. For Florida, you need to have every single one of your major components listed for your car. So if I did, like I did the headlight, I did the bumper, I did the front tub, which is technically framed for a Porsche, but we'll get into that a little later. Anything major. So they had to repair the original hood, they had to repair one of the fenders, they had to use a different bumper that I had to get, but I got that bumper used. So any part that you get that is not OEM, you have to have the VIN number in Florida. So if I got an airbag, this car, none of the airbags deployed, thankfully, because that's a big deal. Makes it a lot harder for you to get your car rebuilt if the airbags have deployed. That and the catalytic converters, it's one of the big things. I'll show you here. This is the, we'll go over this in a second, but this is the statement of builder for the state of Florida, if I can get that to focus. And you'll notice right down here, it says catalytic converter not tampered with and no airbags deployed. That is the 2 biggest things that they want to know during the rebuild. So obviously if you have that, I'll talk about that in a second, because as you know, the Honda S2000 I'm currently rebuilding, I had to do the whole airbag system on that, and that's going to be another process, and I have not gone through that yet, but I've talked to some people that have actually done the process, and it doesn't seem that difficult. It seems like they just want you to jump through more hoops. So that sounds a little less involved than it actually is. I said there's only 3 major things, being the receipts, the pictures, and your paperwork. Essentially, you need to have your statement of your rebuilder, you need to have your receipt from the body shop if someone actually did labor on it, or you have to prove that you did the labor yourself. If you're doing if you have anything that's used, you need to provide the VIN number for that part if it was not OEM. I got a lot of OEM stuff just so I didn't have to jump through that hoop, but basically if you don't have parts that are OEM, they want to know where the parts came from. So they want to know that I didn't, you know, go to a parking lot and steal the front bumper and a fender and a hood off of another Porsche and then put it back onto mine just to get recirculated in the system, or if I chopped one and now I'm getting rebuilt, something like that. They want to know that the parts aren't stolen. They want to know where the parts came from. So luckily I bought a lot of my parts. I knew, as you guys have seen in the previous videos, where I've gone to a salvage Porsche yard, and that guy's helped me out a lot with getting some of the parts that I needed. That he has literally 996 is probably the last year of Porsches that he has, so he has everything before that, like 944s and 928s and all the old Porsches. But basically I would go and you'd see that I would have, I don't know how much of this I can actually show you, but something like this was the receipt, $450 for the bumper on the car. Now I can actually prove where it came from. You know, the payment was sent to Auto Restore Global. His name on eBay is a little different, but they want to know where the part came from. Obviously, I was able to take the VIN number because the car was physically there. It was I think it was a burn damage. I think the engine burnt, so obviously the front end is completely fine. I went and pulled the bumper off of that, and that's where that came from. But they want to know that the parts aren't stolen. They want to know the damage of the car. You'll notice right here, this was the before pictures of the Porsche, and they want to see that all blown up. And they want multiple copies of everything. That was the other weird thing. It wasn't just like, you know, here's the, you know, the original. They take your original, the copy of your original, and then they say to make an extra copy for yourself to keep, which is really kind of weird. I don't know if it's just going to multiple departments or what they're actually doing with the pictures, but like everything that I brought in of the original pieces, original pictures and everything, this is the original Copart listing of the car, but they want to see everything that you've done, and they want to see copies of everything that you bring in. Like, you bring in the statement of rebuilder, you can't just give them that paperwork. You need to copy it twice over just so they have all the documentation you have. And the other thing is, I think with all of these rebuild channels now, you know, you got like people that have been doing it for a while that are now blowing out of the water, like Goon Squad and like Sam Crack, and Tavares isn't really a rebuild channel, but you know what I mean. All these people that are starting to start all these rebuild channels, starting to take on projects like that they can't actually handle, and that's actually delaying the rebuild process in a lot of states, because the lady in there was saying everyone thinks that they're a rebuilder now. So our actual inspection date actually got pushed back. I think it was 4 weeks, so it was over. I think we're now just shy under a month of it actually getting inspected, so we're three and a half weeks or so out from the inspection date to actually drive the car there, show up, and actually get the car inspected, which I'm going to bring you guys along for that. But it's really getting pushed down the line, so if you can do this, do it as fast as possible. I'm trying to figure out if you can do it without actually having the car done. Like the S2000, for example, that car it just got dropped in the shop, and which you guys will see that video in a little bit, but it just got dropped into the shop, and it's getting the frame done, and the hood and the bumper and all that stuff. All the parts are aligned, everything's ready to go. But with them only wanting the receipt and, you know, the parts receipts, which I already have all that stuff, and they only want before pictures, if they don't want after, then you would think you can kind of schedule around. Maybe I can go and say the car's done, I can get my inspection date that's going to be a month out, and then by the time the car actually is done, there might be only a week or two gap to actually get the car inspected. So that's definitely something. If you can find any loophole, you can. You know, I'm not telling you to not do things by the way that they want you to do them, but if you can definitely find a loophole, I would strongly suggest it. But do your research. It's all going to vary by state. I know the biggest things that you need are, you know, exactly what I just talked about. So your receipts, making sure the parts aren't stolen is a really big key, and just having all your paperwork. Now, if you're already in a position where you're trying to get an inspection, or you're trying to look up what you need to go to the DMV to actually do this, and let's say you didn't track down all your parts, you know, like, because I actually went and I forget what it was, I think it was the tub. So the tub I bought last year, you know, I bought it in 2018 when I thought the car was going to be rebuilt a lot faster. So I went and took that tub and bought it just off a random person on eBay. If you go back on eBay a year ago, it doesn't even let you load up the original order transaction. So I thought I was screwed, but luckily I bought it from a place that had a registered LLC. All I did was put their name on the document. The lady said it was fine, and now that's gonna go through the paperwork, and they just wanna know where it comes from. So if you actually buy from a legitimate business, and let's say you don't have the VIN number, you shouldn't stress about it too much. The only things that I would think that they would get angry about would be like things like seat belts or airbags, or something that's not just a major component, but something that involves, your safety or the safety of the vehicle. I can see them not being too happy about that. But basically, in conclusion, the things you're going to need are obviously receipts, proof of where you bought everything from, the receipt from the actual builder showing the components that they repaired, and if anything is left out, you need to get that adjusted. So if they did the tub, the left fender and the hood and the bumper, I need to have every single one of those components listed, and so that they know what was actually repaired and it has to match up to the work order. You need to have your receipts for purchasing the car, your bill of sale, things like that, you know, actually having the title, the salvage title, and copies of everything. So I would suggest making at least two to three copies if you want to hold on to some stuff for yourself. Obviously, I still have pictures and stuff for my own records, so I would say make at least 3 copies of everything. So you need your title, you need your bill of sale from buying the car, whether that was a salvage auction, whether that was buying it through someone. You need your receipts for every single part that is a major component. So don't be gathering receipts for hood latches and, you know, mirrors and weird things that aren't necessarily a major component of the car, because, you know, they don't need to know everything. It's not like you're hiding something from them. They literally don't want to know that things. They only, on the statement of rebuilder, you'll notice there's only 5 or so slots. Let me see if I can zoom this in, but there's only 5 or so slots right here for you to actually put part numbers. So they do make it, I had another sheet somewhere that was like an extended list if you really had a lot of components, maybe you had a bad crash or something, but that's not necessarily important. Just all your major components listed. You need to have your before pictures. Some states do require before and after, so make sure you get these before pictures. It's important to get all 4 points of the car, so you want both sides, the front and the back, and you can take them at angles, and they want to be able to see the roof, which is another big deal, which I didn't necessarily know, but luckily the pictures were already taken like that. So you need to have your pictures, your before and after, your receipts, your title for the car, all that information, and then fill out your statement of rebuilder. You don't have to have the shop sign it or anything, or you don't have to sign it. You basically are just saying, this car is road legal, I'm ready to get it inspected. I hope this helped you guys out. I wanted to make this quick little video just to show you my experience and what I actually did, and hopefully help some of you guys out there that are trying to, you know, get your rebuild projects started or get them actually inspected and finished. So that's going to be it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and drop a like down below. Consider subscribing to the channel, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.